We're going to dive right in, right on time, because we have a lot to cover. We're trying to cover a year's worth of great work in an hour. So bear with us, and let me just dive right in. Again, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today. As we close off the year, we reflect about the work that has been accomplished. We are quite proud. We want to thank you for taking time out of your busy day to be here today. Like I said, we have a lot to get to, summarizing an incredible year of work into 1 hour, highlighting many of the initiatives and accomplishments that have happened this year. And I know I want to acknowledge that many of you spent hours with us in 2001 through the Pathways to Decarbonization workshops. And that work completed through that Pathways to Decarbonization initiative was invaluable for our ongoing resource planning. It's great to see so many of you here again today, and also welcome to the new attendees. I did want to say, though, today's event will run differently than the workshops. One thing we learned during the workshop series is that our stakeholders like to hear from us and they like updates. And that's what OPPD does on a regular basis. In fact, when I started 3 years ago, my very first project was to do a State of the Utility event.
If we're having connection issues, maybe we can proceed with the safety briefing while Sarah reconnects.
I think that's a good call. Tim, are you able to advance the slides?
No, I'm sorry, I cannot.
That's good. We are an agile organization. We'll make this work. So whoever's going to do the safety briefing, can you proceed with the safety briefing, please?
Yeah, if it's okay, I'll go ahead and do the safety briefing for us while we work out the kinks. So if you've been in Nebraska at all, you know that we're going to get some severe weather here in the winter. And so we're going to do a safety briefing here on winter road safety. So in extreme weather, if you can, make sure you stay home if possible. We do a lot of our work, I know, remotely, both for commutes, but also for employee safety. And so if you can stay off the roads, let the plows get out, keep yourself safe, stay at home. If you do have to travel, slow down and plan for more time to get to your destination. It'll take longer than it normally takes. And so your patience and expectation for that when you get in the car will be very helpful for you and for other drivers. Check the condition of your tires and your wiper blades and maintain a safe distance behind snow plows. And be aware of those blind spots and be careful if you're passing. Sometimes if you're operating a piece of large equipment, it can be difficult to have a total and clear 360 view of those around you. So please be patient and careful when you're around large equipment. And then make sure you can see, keep the lights on and the windshield clean, keep it defrosted and defogged, and make sure when you're mobile before you start moving your vehicle that you're able to accomplish those things. And so with the safety moment behind us, I'll turn it back over maybe to Sarah.
Well, if it's not Sarah, I think she's having maybe connection issues. She will join us here soon. So let me just take over here and welcome everyone. I want to welcome you all tonight to this OPPD State of the Utility presentation. There are many, many, many exciting things going on, not only in our industry, but also in our region. And I want you all to know that OPPD is working really hard, leading the way in serving our growing communities with improved reliability and also pursuing our net zero carbon by 2050 goal. I hope you will join me in celebrating these historic and transformational projects. With that, maybe we can go to the next slide, and it just gives a nice overview of our service territory, who we are. I hope that if you're joining today, you have a good idea of who we are. But let me just share with you, as we closed out our 76th year of history as OPPD a couple of weeks ago, and we're looking ahead to our 77th year on. And as I look at that, one word comes to mind, and that is growth. We are in a unique position to be growing in a number of ways through the population and the number of customers that we serve, and we're going to have more on that in a little bit, and through the number of employees who work every day to serve our communities. This is impressive. The population of our service territory, which is 13 counties that we serve in southeast Nebraska, is quickly closing in on 900,000 people. These will eventually be the majority of the population of the entire state of Nebraska. Now, as you will hear later on in this presentation, we are experiencing record load growth. Demand for electricity is growing at a pace that we've never experienced before. Electrification of the economy is no longer a concept, but a reality that we live on a daily basis here at OPPD. Electrification is happening, and we are definitely experiencing it in our service territory. I'm really proud of our team, and I am excited about the opportunity to meet the growing needs of an electrified economy and to continue pursuing ways to achieve the goal of net zero carbon by 2050. Now, before we dive into tonight's presentation, I want to briefly mention the Inflation Reduction Act, or IRA. It is a topic that is frequently discussed when we engage with our customer owners and when I engage with people across the industry. I want to let you know that OPPD is working hard behind the scenes to ensure that we take full advantage of the opportunities the IRA presents, specifically around direct renewables credit for generation resources. We, OPPD, along with many other public power utilities, have been working hard for about 30 years to make this legislation happen. In fact, I know we are far ahead of our peers in the industry. As I meet with other public power utility CEOs in the industry, our team is, I would say, far ahead on understanding the IRA, understanding the IRS regulation, the Internal Revenue Service regulation, and trying to figure out how do we extract the most value from this legislation into our customer owners. We are focused on the impacts of the IRA in our operations. And we know customers will have their own interest in specific aspects of the legislation. We are analyzing proposed regulations that were recently issued by the IRS, and we will continue to study new regulations as they become available to better understand how we will take advantage of the provisions in the Act. More to come on this topic in the coming months, but I wanted to give you an update that we are studying it and we're paying close attention to that. Now, allow me a moment to highlight the great work our employees are doing, and this is a little bit of a bragging moment for me because the OPPD team is just amazing. So we can go to the next slide, please. It's just a picture, and a picture really says more than 1,000 words. We continue to live out our core values of passion, honor, and care. We were honored for our passion to serve at both the state and national line worker rodeos earlier this year. Those events allow us to showcase the expertise of our line workers who help keep the power on every day, and also to help with recruiting efforts. And you can see that on the lower left-hand corner of your screen. Our commitment to safety was also honored with an award of excellence from the American Public Power Association. You can see the picture of that award here too. Also, our economic development team earned an award from Strictly Business magazine for their efforts to help our area grow. Also, and not shown here on the slide, is OPPD received the designation of Smart Energy Provider for the second time in a row by the American Public Power Association. Now, these are just some of the recognitions and designations we received in 2022, and I am incredibly proud of the work that our OPPD women and men continue to get for our region and for our community. Now, the way we honor our communities showed up in many different ways, and one of them is how we volunteer, how we show up in our communities. To date, we've tracked more than 185 unique employees. Some of them volunteered in multiple events, multiple times during the year. They have been involved in our outreach department, organized events like parades, Rock the Block events with Habitat for Humanity, Careers in Energy, and many others. If you count every touch point, we believe that our volunteer number is over 500 people in all of these events. Also, our annual fundraising events raised more than $437,000 for the energy assistance programs in the last year. The events we have attended representing your utility are too numerous to list here, but I could take the entire time here discussing them, and I won't, don't worry. But I wanted to begin the evening by highlighting how OPPD is supporting the communities it serves every day in a number of ways. I am incredibly proud of the work they do day in and day out, 24/7, 365. The fact that we can have this conversation today on WebEx, on your computer, indoors, is truly brought to you by the OPPD workforce too, providing the power that is powering all of our communities, charging laptops and phones and allowing this communication. And for that, I am incredibly grateful to the OPPD team. With that, I'm going to pass it back to Sarah, who it looks like she's back online, and we will continue with the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Javier. And I am deeply sorry about dropping off there. I kept on talking. I went through the safety, and all of a sudden I was like, where did everyone go? So I'm so sorry about that. But thank you, Aaron and Javier, Brad, everyone for covering for me. Make a great team. Aaron, I know that you're driving the slides, but I don't know if you wanted me to take that back over. We've got a poll everywhere question coming up here soon that I want to be able to share with the team. So thank you. I'll go ahead and take back over. And again, thank you, team, so much for your jumping in when we had a few difficulties. So here we go. All right, back to the slides. As we dive in, I just want to share a few notes on housekeeping. Just a reminder to OPPD staff to please mute their microphones when not speaking. Please silence all electronic devices. As we mentioned on the opening slide, this meeting is being recorded. Public attendees are in WebEx, are in listen-only mode. And I just wanted to say, although this is just an update, it's not a workshop in which we are seeking feedback. We do welcome your questions and comments. There will be just one poll everywhere question, and that will be next. And there will be instructions on the screen of how to log in. I mentioned this in the beginning, but I don't know if you heard me because I might have went away. Throughout the presentation, you may ask questions to the team through the Q&A tool on WebEx. We will try to get to as many questions as possible during this presentation. There should be time after the presentation to answer your questions that we do not have a chance to answer during the presentation. We do have quite a few participants on board today. So I did want to mention, if you are asking multiple questions, we want to do our best to get to all of the participants who are asking questions. If we don't have time to get to all of your questions, there are many ways to get in touch with us with your questions, and I will share that at the end of the presentation. Quick spoiler alert, one of them is OPPD Community Connect. I just want you all to know that we are always here, we're always listening, and we're always engaging with our customers. So please continue to stay in touch. I will move to the next slide, and this is a poll everywhere question. So we want to know, and we did this for all the decarb workshops, we like to know who's all in the room. Being a webinar, we aren't in a big room, we can't see everyone. So we want to know who's all in the room. So I'm going to switch over to poll everywhere. So please text OPPD1 to 22333. If you text that once, you'll join. And then if you wouldn't mind, please share. If you don't mind sharing your name, that's great. We'd love to know who's all in the room. And so everybody knows who's all in the room. And we'd like to know which organization you're with. So if you don't mind, please sharing that. That'd be great. We've got someone from the OPPD Board of Directors. Welcome. A ratepayer, fantastic. Like to see you here. I know we have a lot more folks in the room, so I'm going to give folks a minute to log in. Michelle, welcome. I recognize you from some of our previous work. So let this just one more moment. Greater Omaha Chamber. All right. Well, I know that everyone's probably still typing in, but in the interest of time, I'd like to move on so we can try to get to all of our updates that we have today. So with that, I am going to pass it on to Brad to kick off our Power with Purpose update. So let me switch back to the PowerPoint.
Excellent,
And
Sarah. Well, it's
Brad
great.
Underwood.
Thank you, Sarah. It's great to see all the names and folks interested in what's going on with OPPD and all the things we've been able to accomplish for our community over the past year. So I just wanted to extend my gratitude for your participation in the event this evening, and I think we have some good content for you. Javier talked about earlier how our community is growing, and we see this a lot, and it means very specific things to us. It means we need more power in certain areas of the service territory to make sure that we're able to offer the product that powers modern life and that our customers are expecting from us. So if we can go ahead and advance to the next slide, we've got a little bit of an image here from the Metro Area Planning Agency, and so we partner with MAPA on the work that they do as they plan our communities. And on the right, you'll see what I'm going to call a little bit of a heat map, where the yellow is really areas of Douglas County and Sarpy County, which is a subset of our service territory. MAPA really works kind of in this particular area. So even though our service territory is larger, we can see the growth that MAPA is shown here in these two counties. And the growth goes beyond this into the rural areas, but the yellow really just shows you the volume of activity for people that are pulling building permits. So when you construct a residence or a building, you go through the city or your local jurisdiction and you pull a building permit, and that really triggers a number of things. And the yellow and the red kind of is where you really see a lot of building permit pulls. And so you can kind of see around the contour of the city a bit, really everything west of the river and a little bit east, you see this high volume of building permits being pulled. And so from 2020 to 2030, MAPA estimates about 95,000 additional folks into the two county area there that Javier mentioned earlier. And so we see our demand growing considerably. And this means a couple of things for us. It means that we need to make progress on our pathways to decarbonization. For those of you that have been following along, we're building 600 megawatts of natural gas, and we have 81 megawatts of solar generation coming online over the next couple of years. And we've got some folks here to really bring you up to speed on the progress of those facilities. But we really need those facilities because our growth in what used to be about 4 megawatts a year is really now about 100 megawatts a year over the next 5 to 6 years. So just extraordinary growth. We've had a lot of learnings. Many of you have heard about supply chain challenges, and we're not immune to those as your utility provider. And so we're having to navigate global supply chain issues. We're working hard to bring on a more diverse resource mix for our customers. So that's why we're really investing in solar and that on-peak energy that'll be critical to power our system, as well as the natural gas assets. Another finding that we're having is the length of time required to bring some of these assets on for our customers is really growing. So there's supply chain issues. There's also policy challenges related to the amount of time it takes to bring generation on. And so we're using those learnings to really kind of start those discussions sooner. And so what do I want you to take away from this? I want you to take away from this that we're not alone, that a lot of people are having supply chain challenges or having policy challenges. And so we're going to continue to work through those as we grow the service territory. If we could go to the next slide here. Just a couple of general reminders before we bring on some more of our leaders to talk about some of these things. About 3 years ago, we embarked on the Power with Purpose project. And so really what the projects are providing us is a critical system peak capacity. So when people are using the system in the summer and we have more users who are using higher volume, we're able to provide electricity reliably and predictably the way folks have enjoyed for 75 years. In those winter periods where we have a little bit less less radiance, we want to have that natural gas from a dispatchable perspective, as well as the solar to complement the energy use during those times. Both of those really create the right mix of reliability and resiliency that we've been able to provide the community for a long time, and we're happy to continue providing that into the future. And then it really just rounds out that generation diversity. So as we're growing, we need more generation. We need different types of generation to make sure that system is stable and produces the way that we need it to produce. But we're starting to look further into the future around what's coming after Power with Purpose. And as our community continues to grow at tremendous rates, and we're honored to serve the community in the way we have in the past, what is that next round of resources, and how should we start planning for those? And we'll have Colton Kennedy talk a little bit more about that in our slides coming up. But right now, I'll turn it over to Courtney Kennedy, who can give us an update on our solar generation. Courtney, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Brad, and thank you for everyone for being here. I'm Courtney Kennedy, manager of the Alternative Energy Program. And as Brad kind of talked about, solar is an important component of Power with Purpose. And so we wanted to give just a couple slides of updates on where we're at. We have been pursuing and are still committed to pursuing up to 600 megawatts of solar for the very reason Brad just talked about. This is needed to serve our customer owners and to ultimately bring accredited capacity and on-peak energy for the growing load we've talked about. Now, if you've been following along board meetings or other discussions, we have met significant challenges with this endeavor. Part of that is supply chain, as we've talked about previously, but we've also experienced interconnection backlogs through Southwest Power Pool, something that's really being felt by any type of generation across the country, as well as some of the items going on at the federal level, whether that be looking at tariffs or looking at how to move some of these projects forward. So we're excited right now to have the 81 megawatt Platteview Solar project. It is actively being designed and ready for construction, which we anticipate here to start in the next few months. This project will be online by 2024 and is really a great first project for OPPD and the state of Nebraska for utility scale solar. If we go to the next slide, I want to talk a little bit about what goes on behind the scenes. So even though we are unable to announce specific sites, and we hope to do that here in the very near future, there is a lot of work that happens to ensure that we have projects to bring up to meet the Power with Purpose needs. We are actively monitoring Southwest Power Pool's generation interconnection study process. We are working with suppliers, both private developers as well as equipment suppliers, to continue to get updated pricing, understand supply chain backlogs, what's going on with interconnection, and how do all these factors ultimately impact specific projects. Our staff continue to evaluate the potential for owned solar. This is something that has been made recently available through the Inflation Reduction Act. And as Javier talked about earlier, this is a milestone for the public power utility space. And so we want to understand what that looks like as we deploy more solar assets. Finally, we're looking at the anti-circumvention ruling and what that means for our projects. And as we do all of this, we continue to reach out across our communities, the 13 counties, to do both education and advocacy, to work with our local planning and zoning entities to be prepared for these solar projects. So with that, Megan Walker will give an update on the gas side.
Thank you, Courtney. Megan Walker, I'm the manager of construction management within our utility operations division. The second portion of our Power with Purpose project consists of 600 megawatts of natural gas generation facilities. On the screen, you'll see some images from our two construction sites. On the top two images, it's representative of Turtle Creek Station. That's being constructed at 168th and Fairview Road in Sarpy County. The two bottom pictures are representative of our Standing Bear Lake facility at 114th and Military Road in Douglas County. Both of these will be modernized, advanced natural gas generation facilities able to respond quickly when called upon to operate, particularly in a changing generation grid situation. And, we also have, both projects are doing well. They're over 40% complete. We do anticipate these to be ready for operation in first quarter of 2024. This would be recognizing that we do have to have approval for the interconnection of these facilities from the Southwest Power Pool. Overall, we're 40% complete and very pleased with the progress being made at these sites simultaneously, and look forward to executing well into 2023 and through operational readiness in 2024. With that, I'll turn it over to Colton Kennedy.
Thanks, Megan. Colton Kennedy, Director of Energy Portfolio Planning for OPPD. I'd like to share with you the reality of OPPD's growing load in our service territory, and also the need and the role of near-term resource planning for OPPD's energy portfolio. At OPPD, we have the responsibility to meet the growth of our community, and as planners, we need to identify and develop the resource plans, both supply and demand side, to be able to balance and meet customer needs for years to come. Not just to continue our environmental goals and modernize our fleet with new technologies, but also to preserve reliability and affordability for OPPD's system. These charts in front of you help show OPPD's capacity, or our generation resources, relative to our requirement to serve customers. The solid black line is the peak demand for OPPD's system. The dashed black line is actually the amount of resources that were required to hold, called planning reserve margin, to make sure that we not only have enough, but we have more than enough so we can preserve a reliable system. As we look at the 2027 load and resources on the far left, OPPD identified that we had a deficiency, that we had a need for more resources. And in 2019, we pursued Power with Purpose to add gas and solar resources to meet our growing load. And if you look at the graph in the center of this this page, you can see how the gas in red provides year-round capacity available when we need it. The solar really provides on-peak energy when our system is used the most by customers throughout the summer season, and provides a good, solid summer reliability and energy resource. As we look towards the future, OPPD anticipates our load to continue to grow. And as Brad mentioned previously, our planning horizon is extending. It's becoming longer and farther out due to the challenges of adding new generation. And so as we look forward to the future, we're also identifying the need for OPPD to develop additional near-term resource plans to serve this growing load that are consistent with OPPD's strategic directives, and also our mission to provide affordable, reliable, and environmentally sensitive energy services to our customers. And with that, I think we can continue to our pathways to decarbonization update.
Hey, thanks, Colton. Good afternoon, everyone. Many of you joining us today likely followed along with us on our Pathways to Decarbonization study. That study was directional and provides a lens for OPPD to conduct its core work through as we plan for the future. And you heard from Brad earlier, and Javier and Colton just a moment ago about our growing load. And as we make plans to serve that load, we do so through the lens of pathways to decarbonization and our strategic directives to ensure we are progressing towards our net zero goals while providing affordable and reliable energy services. It's been about a year since our decarb workshops, and I think Sarah kind of led in with that a little bit at the beginning, but rest assured, we've been busy since then. I want to do a little quick review on our findings and then celebrate some of the amazing work we've been up to over the last year. So if we want to go to the next slide. All right, so if you remember from our workshops, we had 8 key findings. So these are kind of the big takeaways. A lot of results we gave you, but these were kind of the big takeaways, right? And earlier we talked about growing load in our service territory today, and we projected growing load in various trajectories in our scenarios for pathways to decarbonization. So as we continue planning to serve that load, it's really consistent with our pathways to decarbonization results. And when we start looking at the findings, I really like to zero in on that first one to start with, right? So this is really an affirmation from our study that we can achieve net zero carbon emissions while maintaining reliability and affordability. And as we continue down the findings, you see that our future generation looks to transition away from coal by 2050. It includes a build out of new renewables and energy storage. But even with that new build out, we need firm resources such as natural gas to maintain that reliable, resilient system that you all depend on us for. So as we move into the future, more of our annual energy will be provided by renewables, and the dispatch and generation of our firm resources will continue to reduce. And if you go on the list, a few more bullets, we looked at 2 different carbon goals. So our goal is net zero, and we looked at that, but we also looked at an absolute zero. So net zero allows us to still utilize fossil fuels in our energy portfolio and net those greenhouse gas emissions out through offsets in other jurisdictions or negative emissions technologies. Um, and absolute zero, on the other hand, it does not allow for that netting of greenhouse gases. And when we modeled that and looked at it, we found that to be considerably more costly and really dependent on future technology developments that aren't here yet. Let's transition to the next slide, and I'm going to share with you a national net zero by 2050 study that was performed by the Electric Power Research Institute. All right, so the Electric Power Research Institute, otherwise known as EPRI, and that's what I'm going to call them. It takes too long to say their full name. They're an independent, nonprofit energy research and development organization. And they're really highly regarded, not only throughout our industry, but throughout other industries and really globally. They provide expertise and collaboration with companies across the world. And we're a member of their low carbon resources initiative. And that initiative is focusing on fundamental advances in low carbon electric generation technologies and energy carriers that are needed to enable decarbonization. And they recently completed a net zero by 2050 United States economy-wide analysis. And the results of this study were really similar to our own Pathways to Decarbonization study. And I tried to highlight a few of those findings and similarities here on this slide. But what you'll see are things like growing capacity of both variable and firm energy, the need to maintain firm generation for resource adequacy, and the expansion of energy efficiency and electrification, all vitally important to get the economy from where it is today to a net zero future. And those are really key messages that we both arrived at. And so this is a publicly available report from EPRI. I would encourage you to check it out. The web address is on the slide. There's some really amazing information for the entire US in there. There's breakdowns by industry and region. And I think our collaboration with EPRI has really been beneficial for us. And I'm pleased that their study and findings really paint the same picture that our Pathways to Decarbonization does. And I think the studies really help to affirm each other. All right, let's hit the next slide here. All right, so you've heard a similar message here all along today. Javier, Brad, Colton, they all mentioned our growing load and our need to meet that load and serve it. So as part of our core work and ongoing capacity planning, we're looking at the capacity needs we have beyond the Power with Purpose assets that are being built now and into the future for the 2027-2032 timeframe. And we're updating our analysis with the most recent load and technology data to really identify what those resources are that we need. And if you remember Pathways to Decarbonization, E3 helped us do that study, and we're having them help us in this planning right now as well. And some of the challenges that we're planning for include that significant load growth across all customer classes, this increasing planning reserve margin for accredited capacity that SPP is requiring for its member utilities, which we are a member of. As all utilities are looking to expand their capacity, that's really making the purchase power market more volatile. And if you followed along with Power with Purpose updates over the last year, you've seen that the planning timelines for new resources continue to increase due to regional transmission planning processes and supply chain challenges. So as we work through these core planning efforts, we're ensuring that we're making plans to serve our growing load that align with the lens Pathways to Decarbonization has provided us, our net zero by 2050 goal, and provides affordable and reliable energy services. So let's go to the next slide and look at some activities we've been up to over the past year. All right, so I'm going to hit these slides fairly quickly, but what you're going to see over the next couple slides is really some highlights and I would say a celebration of all the great work that OPPD is doing to serve our customers and advance toward our net zero goal. I can't mention everything, we'd be here all night otherwise. But in this picture, you can see our first utility scale battery, the Bright battery, being positioned into place. So testing will begin soon on that battery, and it's scheduled for its commercial online date in early 2023. And speaking of batteries, you compare them with renewables to create hybrid facilities. So like a site that pairs utility scale solar or wind with batteries. And we have plans in place to complete a study looking at how those hybrid facilities may play a role in our near-term and long-term energy portfolio planning. Let's go to the next slide. All right, Courtney gave us a great update on solar already, but I would like to highlight one thing, our application for a Nebraska Environmental Trust grant seeking 2023 funding to support installation of solar on a landfill. So that's an exciting application, and if awarded, would be a great use of a landfill. Let's move on to the next slide. So we're always working to maintain our status as your trusted energy partner. And part of that includes education and outreach. So we've been active in this space, including outreach programs for students, community leaders, and the general public on low carbon alternative energy generation. All right, next slide. All right, so we're working across quite a few areas to continue advancing toward net zero. And this really includes some great collaboration with our fellow public power utilities in Nebraska, along with other entities and companies throughout Nebraska and a couple other states. One of those things is with the Department of Energy Regional Clean Hydrogen Hub proposal, and also in a advanced nuclear siting study. I think our collaboration in these areas really highlights the great working relationship that we hold with our other public power providers, as well as companies and other entities within the state, and really highlights a benefit of public power in Nebraska. All right, let's move on to the next one. Okay, so earlier I mentioned that we were participating in the EPRI Low Carbon Resources Initiative, and that has really been a great opportunity for collaboration, learning, and advancing technologies, really among entities across the world. There's companies from Japan, Korea, and a few others that are part of that as well. So it's really been eye-opening and a great opportunity for us to share and learn. We're also part of the Large Public Power Council, and they have an emerging trends task force looking at quite a few trends, but a few of them our electrification, and carbon reduction. So that all fits in well with us, and we get to share information with other utilities across the United States. So in Pathways to Decarbonization, if you remember back over a year ago, we talked a lot about the partnership we need with our customers to advance toward our net zero goals, not only for OPPD, but economy-wide. And our Vice President of Customer Service, Tim McAreevy, is going to give a brief customer program update, and I'm gonna send it on over to you, Tim.
Thank you, Ryan. Sarah, I'm going to confirm that everyone can hear me okay. Wonderful. So Ryan, thanks for that, for sending it over here. No discussion about the state of our utility would be complete without talking about customers and the programs being designed to help our customers manage their relationship with energy. You've heard consistently throughout today's discussion from Javier, from Brad, from Ryan around the growth going on in our area. And I would say that we are seeing that in conjunction with a number of things that we have going in our service territory and with our customers to help them more effectively manage the energy they use and in fact minimize it. But we are seeing growth across all customer classes, and you can go ahead and advance to the next slide, Sarah. We are seeing growth across all our customer classes and business types, and we can see that as we drive around the area, each of us do, and maybe some of us are participating in that growth by new homes or home remodeling, or we work at businesses that are expanding, or we hope to advance our career with new businesses that are coming in. OPPD people are hard at work facilitating the energy needs of that growth simultaneously with working with all of those customers to help minimize the energy used. We're also deeply entrenched and engaged with our customers throughout the district. And what you'll hear today and in this slide is just a small snapshot, frankly, of the things we have going on. We have workshops that we've held around behind the meter solar or customer-owned solar to help continue understanding the evolving needs of customers and interests of customers in that regard. We've had an extensive workshop with our trade allies. Those are businesses we partner with to help deliver some of the energy solutions that customers require. And we talked about processes, we talked about strategies and new solutions coming forward to customers. We've launched new programs. Again, just a snapshot, but a couple that I'll highlight here is our Greener Together program. That is a program in which customers can voluntarily participate to help fund greener projects and help, in fact, some members that participate can help select. We had 16 initial applications for projects to be funded through the Greener Together program. Those are going through the evaluation process. It's currently in a stage of final voting by gold and emerald level participating customers. We've launched a customer assistance program pilot. This is a 3-year pilot to help qualifying customers have support to meet payment of their energy bills. We've been busy publicizing that and signing up customers, and there'll be much more to come. We've also expanded existing programs. So energy assistance is another of the programs. This is one funded by donations, exclusively by donations, to help customers in need pay their energy bill. And we do that through all manner of donations from OPPD people and from outside. Recently, we gained $3,500 to that program just through the Giving Tuesday program. Outdoor lighting rebates is something we've had, and we've also recently expanded that to include business customers. So another way to help decarbonize our network and our service territory. And we've also expanded our energy education program. That is a program that supports both energy savings goals and affordability goals by partnering with elementary teachers to help directly educate students about energy. So our team has been in 25 different classrooms and addressed over 600 students, not just with education, but hands-on learning about energy. We certainly haven't stopped there with that brief snapshot. We have additional things coming. So a couple of small snapshots here would be HVAC tune-up rebates. So you can look forward to that in the future, and brand new energy efficiency products. So I want to thank the entire team that works with our customers day in and day out, and also congratulate them on one achievement not on the slide. We were just recently reselected or redesignated as an American Public Power Association Smart Energy Provider. We were first awarded that in 2020, and that designation for OPPD was renewed for the 22 through 24 year. We're among 101 public utilities so designated and awarded. This was awarded to public utilities with high proficiency in energy efficiency, distributed generation, renewable energy, and environmental initiatives. So with that, I will turn it over to the next presenter, which should be talking about illuminating our future.
Thank you,
Welcome,
Tim.
Scott. There you go.
Tim, thank you so much. When I hear what everyone is sharing, it's no surprise about the amount of activity that's happening in the district. Across the 13 counties we serve, focused on keeping the lights on and fulfilling our mission and service to our customers. And we're navigating a period of unprecedented change and transformation. I love the fact that we recently celebrated our 75th anniversary, really honoring our past and the community we've had the honor and privilege to serve over the past 75 years. Powering our present as we think about powered with purpose, and our service area growing at a rate we've never seen. And we're focused on illuminating our future. In November 2019, the board met and approved a change to a policy, environmental sensitivity or stewardship, net zero carbon by 2050. Now, when we first heard this, 28 years seems like a long way off, except when I consider the fact that 28 years ago was 1994. It doesn't seem that far off at all. In addition to net zero carbon by 2050, it raised the question, what else will we be by then? So as an organization, we went out, we looked at trends, we spoke with subject matter experts. We sought a lot of information to help us answer this question and ultimately establish a vision that we are calling Powering the Future to 2050. It's a vision document. It was an effort to solidify our vision for the utility in service to all of you, to our customers and to our community. Our vision will guide our planning. It will guide our resource prioritization, our strategic and our operational decisions moving forward. There's quite a lot to think about and to consider in this vision. We are looking forward to sharing it with you. We're planning outreach and education in the first quarter of 2023, and are looking forward to those conversations. Sarah, I'll turn it over to you.
Team, thank you everyone so much for all those great updates, and you kept the conversation going in a very quick and efficient manner. So I'd like to make note of the time and applaud all of you for getting through those slides so quickly, and appreciate that. As we move on to the section about the questions, please continue to put those questions into WebEx Q&A. But before we kind of go to that, I do want to call out some other things, please, first. Again, I said this at the beginning of the presentation, but OPPD Community Connect, which I believe everyone has went to this website to be able to sign up for this presentation. This is a website that we are updating on a regular basis with all different sorts of OPPD projects, also projects that we're looking for customer community feedback on. So please bookmark that website, visit that website, log into that website. It's very easy to register. We don't ask for anything besides your name, your email address, a username, so you don't even have to use your real name if you didn't want to when you're logging in. But we really, really want your email address and zip code. That way we can hear from you and we can have a conversation with you. So again, oppdcommunityconnect.com is a great resource. There's also other websites that OPPD manages. oppd.com is available. If you want to speak directly to our executive leadership team or our board of directors, there's a board contact form there that you can get to. We also have a speakers bureau that you can access from oppd.com if you are so interested in having an OPPD speaker come out to your organization to speak about any one of these topics. We also have a few other websites. Stormandoutage.com is a great resource if there's an outage or storm happening. That's where you can go to find out where we are at with things. And then oppdthewire.com is a brand journalism website. We have an awesome team of reporters here at OPPD that update that website on a very regular basis with all kinds of news from OPPD. But also in the community, you will find us all over the community. And so as this picture says, this is when we were at Rock Blair with Habitat for Humanity, but all sorts of events in the community. Next month, we'll have some public meetings. You can find us in the community at. A lot of that information about us being out there in community, again, is on OPPD Community Connect. Also, social media is where you may find us on Facebook, you may find us on Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Please connect with us there. We have an amazing social media corporate communications team that keeps everyone abreast of what's going on at OPPD on those social media accounts. So with that, I will turn it over. We've got a great team that's been looking for your question and answers. I've got Jamie Wagner, Jenny Raddick, and all the subject matter experts on board that are reading your questions. So again, if you have questions, please submit them through the Q&A tool. If you don't have questions now and you have questions later, again, OPPD Community Connect is a great resource. We have pages set up for most all of the different topics that we covered today. Power with Purpose, Pathways to Decarbonization. Please go ahead and visit that website. Ask us additional questions there, and we will get back to you within 3 business days. Our subject matter experts are online helping us get questions, getting all your questions answered. And additionally, if you have questions that aren't related to those subjects on OPPD Community Connect, there is just an Ask Us section. Please feel free to ask us any questions there that you might have. Jamie, Jenny, are there any questions that we wanted to take verbally, or just wanted to make sure?
Looks like so far, Sarah, actively tackling them in the Q&A.
Well, great. Keep on getting those questions out there.
I know we've still got a good amount of folks on the line. Don't be shy. Want to hear from all of you.
So maybe while we wait, what we can do, I'm going to call my team. There's a question about initiatives for customer-owned generation. Maybe the team could talk a little bit about the initiatives and programs we have and trade allies and others. Maybe I don't know if Heather and your team, you can do an audible response on this one.
And Javier, I can go ahead and take that one and welcome any additions with Heather as well. So our team has spent a considerable effort and developed a great number of resources to help customers pursue their interest in owned generation. So we continue to monitor interest in community sort of programs such as community solar, and to be aware of opportunities and needs to expand that. In addition, because the demand and interest in customer-owned generation has risen significantly, we've added resources, we've added information, and in particular on OPPD.com have added a great amount of information to help customers guide through the decision process of whether customer-owned generation is for them. For those that decide that that is the right answer for them, we not only provide additional information, streamlined processes for application and interconnection, but we've also partnered with a number of trade allies to help actually, should a customer choose to, deliver the solution, the equipment, the installation, et cetera, for those sorts of services.
Ryan, I think we've been doing some work with as a result of the legislature on future siting for nuclear generators. I know that work is fairly premature, but the partnership there is really strong. And so, Ryan, I might ask you to kind of speak to that. The question was, where is that nuclear siting work going, and maybe what should we expect?
Yeah, thanks, Brad. You're right. It is a result of some legislation, legislative bill 1100, I believe that is the correct number, and that was a direction from our state legislature that allocated some funds to do a siting study um, to determine if there are viable places and what the most feasible place would be for future advanced nuclear, like small modular reactors, if that becomes, the next could be economically viable. There's no time frame for when something like that would happen, or if it would happen. It's really just a siting study, and Nebraska Public Power District is leading that study, and we're collaborating with them. And so I kind of touched on this earlier, that we're doing a lot of really good collaboration across the state. And so I think that one's an exciting one. There's really not much to tell you, but I think, look for maybe some information late next year. That's about all I can tell you for now. We're really in the early stages. There's not much more to go on there. But I think the key thing that you touched on there too, Brad, is really the collaboration that's happening.
There was a question about what role can OPPD play on helping with buildings of homes and energy efficiency to save energy. Tim McRavy, would you mind sharing your thoughts on that?
Certainly, Javier, thank you. I was about to do so. The question was fairly specific, but certainly all forms of energy policy are impactful to our ability for around energy efficiency and to help customers manage their energy. So OPPD is involved certainly all the way from a customer by customer level, from some of the products and services that we offer, up through larger customers where our teams consult with commercial and industrial customers all the time on solutions and strategies to help them reduce their energy cost and energy usage. And we're certainly involved also with municipalities in our service territory, with weighing in on legislation and all sorts of prospective energy policy that's advantageous. So yes, it's impactful, and yes, we're involved at really all steps from an individual customer up through advocacy to energy policy that makes sense.
Thanks, Tim.
Jamie, this is Lisa Olson. I just wanted to add, I know that yesterday during the board committee meeting, we gave an update on our outreach specifically in the North Omaha community and how it's continuing on during the next several weeks and months. Just wanted to let the public know, because there was a question that we will be doing a public meeting in the January timeframe. So be looking for that. But as Sarah said, OPPD Community Connect is being updated with an engagement platform for that. So if you have comments and ideas, we welcome that for all members of the public. So just wanted to plug the great work that the team are doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. All right.
So Sarah, back to you for closing comments and maybe a process step of how you can connect again as well.
And Lisa, I'm gonna break the the process here a little bit before we go to Sarah. And Sarah, you thank you for all your help, and you will help us with what to expect and instructions. But I want to take a moment here to thank. You know, as I mentioned earlier, we serve the population we serve is between 850 and now approximately 900,000 people that who depend on the work we do day in and day out. The work we do matters, and it matters a lot. And today we had 34 of those customer owners. Some employees, some customer owners, and I want to thank all of you, the 34 of you who attended, who spent time with us today. It means the world to me to know that we have dedicated, very involved customer owners who want to hear more from us, who want to participate, to engage with us. Well, I really want to thank you all for investing 1 hour of your valuable time with us today, and thank the OPPD team. We prepared for this event for a while, and it happens through the dedication of all the communications team. So I'm not going to drag this on any longer, but I wanted to thank all of you for participating. Now back to you, Sarah, for closing instructions here.
Thank you again, Javier, and team of subject matter experts for taking your time today, and also all the preparation that we did to make this happen. This presentation will be, or has been recorded, as you all know, and I will be posting it on OPPD Community Connect just as soon as it's available. So you'll be able to find that on the State of the Utility page on OPPD Community Connect. And again, if you have further questions that either we didn't get to or they come later to you and you want to follow up with us on anything that was covered today, please, again, feel free to reach out to OPPD Community Connect, or I shared that slide of all those other ways you can connect with us. With that, I'm going to adjourn this meeting. Thank you all for attending. And for taking time out of your day, and we wish you a very happy holidays and stay safe and warm. Thank you.